Hi, my name is Amy Worcester, and I wrote The Hunt, and it is a non-traditional werewolf novel because I got tired of the Help Save Me novels. And so she saves herself. Celeste sat in her father's office as he and her mother explained to her why she should participate in the summer solstice hunt. She was 18 and had recently graduated high school. They had already allowed her an extra year. Now they felt it was time for her to find her mate. Nope, it is not going to happen. There was a little bit of guilt at her deception, but they were refusing to listen. Tradition dictated her life, and tradition could kiss her ass. It was nearly midnight when her parents decided that they had lectured long enough. Finally, she was up before the sun, anxious to run, needing to burn off energy. Her leggings hugged her legs below her baggy shirt, which was required by her father to protect her modesty. Her modesty could be damned too. As she ran and got hotter, she would strip off the t-shirt and tie it around her waist. When she was warmed up, Celeste stepped off the second-story deck and started her run. Malachi, her father, and the pack alpha allowed her to run for now. He allowed a lot of extra activities, and he liked to remind her how generous he was. She had participated in sports at the local human high school. Reluctantly, he had allowed gymnastics and tumbling, later cheer squad, and then competitive cheer. Her freshman year, he had declared no more. Trapped inside the house with no way to expel her energy, she was driving everyone crazy. Then, within a week, he let her go back to all her activities. Even now, with no sports to play, she was getting restless. Her runs were getting longer. Following the pack law of having a male family member with her, she would keep one of her brothers at the gym longer than they wanted. Her pitch black hair hung past her shoulders and topped her tanned body. She had a slight sprinkling of freckles across her face and full lips that the human boys said were kissable. High cheekbones and a pert nose gave her a striking profile, but her eyes were what everyone always commented on. They were silver. Most assumed they were pale blue until they got closer. Celeste reached the overlook at the lake just in time to watch the sunrise. With the warmth of the sun on her upturned face, she felt her senses heighten. Closing her eyes, she focused on everything around her. A rooster crowed to greet the morning, and birds chirped in the distance. As a shifter, she stood between their world and the human one. The sound of footsteps approaching caused her body to tense up, but then a familiar scent filled her nose and she smiled. Her eldest brother wrapped his arms around her shoulders and rested his chin on her head. This was their ritual. It was their time, and it was here that she had confessed her plans last fall. Like Celeste's other siblings, Sirius had reddish-brown hair and green eyes. He stood a little over 6.5 feet tall, with about 4 inches between them. They both had athletic builds and tan skin. Sirius wore running shoes and black basketball shorts and a gray tank top. His neck was marked with his mate's mark, and the Silver Lake Pack crest was tattooed on his upper left arm. "When do you leave?" Sirius asked, breaking the silence. 2 more days, she replied. "I'm going to miss this." "Me too. Just promise me that you'll come back whenever you can." He squeezed her tight and kissed the top of her head. "I will, as long as Dad will let me," she said with a catch in her throat. "He will. It may take a little while." "Did I do the right thing?" "I can't tell you that, but I completely support you. I didn't meet Laura at the hunt, and to be honest, I agree with you. I'm glad I met Laura before she was part of the hunt. I'm dreading the thought of having to host it now that I'm alpha." "I don't envy you," she whispered. "Can I take you?" he whispered back, fighting the tears. "I would love that." "I'll tell Dad that you're staying over at our house. What time do you have to be there?" "I meet the recruiter at 1 at the office." "Tomorrow?" "Yeah, I'm getting nervous." "Too late for that. The Marines aren't going to let you go so easily." "Come on," he said, leading her back to the trail that went to the training ground. "You only have 2 more chances to kick my ass." "And I plan to." I'll race your sorry ass. And she laughed as she took off running. My ass is not sorry, he retorted as he took off after her. It was close, but Sirius beat her. She made up for it by beating him several times while they were sparring. Their brothers, Ares, Phoenix, and Caleb, joined them. Just before 8, Sirius kissed his sister's cheek and told her to stay strong. He offered a salute to his brothers and then headed home. Are you really going to let this happen to me? The simple question from 17-year-old Winona cut Wyatt to the core. She had demanded an answer from him the day before the Crystal River Pack was leaving for the hunt in the nearby Silver Lake Pack. He had agreed to go but refused to participate, stating that he had business with the other alpha. Quite simply, he wanted nothing to do with the hunt. Because of this, Winona knew that Wyatt would understand her fears, and he did understand them. He clearly remembered the terror in his older sister's eyes, causing the deep need to protect her. The only thing that they could hope for was that once their youngest sister was old enough for the hunt, it would have changed. In the meantime, he made a concoction and told her to drink it with a simple warning. This will make you sicker than a dog. Pun intended. She downed the drink and regretted it almost immediately. By morning, Winona was too sick to go with the rest of the delegation. Luna Elizabeth stated that she would stay with their daughter, and Alpha Jonathan declared that his son could handle the alpha responsibilities by himself. At 20 years old, and the only son of Alpha Jonathan and Luna Elizabeth, he knew his responsibilities. The dreams that he had of becoming a Navy SEAL would never come to fruition. But as a medic embedded with the Marines, he still felt useful and had the opportunity to train. Wyatt found himself in Silver Lake Pack House for a meeting that he had with Sirius during the hunts. The opening ceremonies had already taken place, and it was approaching mid-morning. The sky was slightly overcast with the first bands of the hurricane coming up the eastern seaboard. The buildings were all traditional colonial style, as were so many in the New England area. It appeared that the pack held tightly to tradition and barely grasped for the future. Once he was inside the pack house, the subtle scent that had Demon perking up at the back of his mind surrounded him. Intoxicating, sweet and spicy with just a hint of tanginess. It was everywhere. He had to find who it belonged to. Mate. Demon practically pranced in the back of Wyatt's mind with his nose tipped up in the air, inhaling the intoxicating flavors. Ignoring the office to his right, he followed the scent up the stairs in search of his mate. On the 3rd floor, it grew stronger. He started down the wing to his left, but quickly turned around as it got weaker. Halfway down the other wing, he found a door that was closed. Opening the door, the scent overpowered him. Demon rolled around and howled in Wyatt's mind. That's our mate, Demon declared. Find her. Patience, Wyatt told his wolf. Stepping inside, he was enveloped in the best scent he had ever smelled. Along with the typically feminine and submissive scents was a very strong, dominant scent of strong, tangy spice. Walking through the room, man and beast continued to argue. Demon wanted to go find their mate immediately. Wyatt agreed, but kept thinking of how Winona had begged him to make her sick so she could avoid the hunt. He thought of Whitney screaming for help. He could not be the reason that any woman had that look of fear on her face. Certainly not the face of his mate. A bench sat in front of her window with a bottle of bright purple nail polish and sparkly blue toe separators on the windowsill. He was having a hard time connecting the feminine nail polish, cheer pictures, and jewelry with the violent activities associated with the boxing gloves, medals, and belts. The twin bed sat in the middle and was tightly made with a blue comforter. When he peeked at the pillowcase underneath, he found Cookie Monster grinning back at him. She loves Cookie Monster. Always has, Sirius said from the door. I would ask what you're doing, but the lovesick look in your eyes tells me. Is she at the hunt? Wyatt hoped that the other man would say no. The beast inside him growled at the other man. The older wolf huffed at Demon before offering a low warning growl himself. If you're hoping to meet her, I'm afraid you're out of luck. Sirius leaned against the doorframe. Before I tell you anything else about my sister, tell me what you think of the hunt. With Wyatt stating that the woman was a relative of his, Demon backed down, but he still wanted to go find her, claim her. Do you want the it's tradition bullshit answer? Wyatt finally asked. Or do you want my honest opinion? Honest. It's archaic, sexist, sadistic, and downright cruel. I think it needs to be eliminated. Sirius smiled and glanced at the crest on the other man's polo. Crystal River? Your pack encourages military service, right? Yes, sir. I'm in the Navy as a medic. He extended his hand. Wyatt O'Donnell. Ah, my 1030, Sirius chuckled. Serious more. Not more serious. You like Marines?